This terrifying and blood-curdling Halloween special audio story is called The Devil's Haunted Hayride, written and read out by Brittany Hill. Yes, for once I'm actually revealing my real name, cause why not? A disclaimer is some of the description can get really dark, and of course this story is about a fictional Satan. I recommend an age group 12 years or older to continue listening to this story. Enjoy and let the dark spirits rise. The Devil's Haunted Hayride, Volume 1, The Start of October. Chapter 1, Satan. It was finally becoming my favorite time of year, Halloween. The holiday where everyone on Earth celebrates haunted and disastrous festivities while out there in their scary and spooky costumes. They also seem to be paying more attention to us demons. Unlike my least favorite holiday, Christmas, where they celebrate Jesus and God, ignoring how he got me banished from heaven, blah 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 blah. But that's not important. What's more important is, as my job as the chief of evil spirits and demons, I want to make the mortals on Earth have the most torturous and wickedest Halloweens of their lives. But they don't get that. Instead, what they'd like to do for the most popular and scariest holiday on Earth is pass out candy while some mortals dress up in funny and cute costumes. All that makes me sick. If Earth really wants the most frightening time of their lives, then I'll give it to them. But instead, I have to sit in my throne watching the demons and evil spirits roam my presence. That was until I saw a doorway in the sky. Letters and numbers were falling through as I saw a doorway hole shaped as a pallet. I heard most of my commoners talking about how they always see this effect and began talking about the past stories to the mortals, or can do worse and have dangerous reactions. But this is the first time I get to see this with my own amber eyes. The dark spirits were right. It was the most satisfying and majestic vision I've ever seen in hell. The mortal moved the pallet and asked us, what's the true meaning of Halloween? I ran out of my throne and stood in the middle of the void. When the demons saw me run, they all stood perfectly still, clapped and bowed down to me, all smiling. Know that I'm going to do something unpredictable to this fellow mortal, as now they're speaking to the boss. While standing in the middle of the void with all of my demons looking at me, I flew up with my devil wings, with the numbers and letters getting larger and windier in my point of view, smiling sinisterly as I grabbed hold on the pallet, knowing that it's my time to shine. I can sense that the mortal was alone in the dark, closed room with candles, holding on to the pallet, so curious but confused. I began to laugh and counted down the numbers. 3, 2, 1. The poor mortal looked so puzzled until I quickly escaped hell and slowly grabbed hold onto his soul and sink it out of him. He couldn't even scream. His face was just pale and breathless, with tears streaming down his eyes as they slowly rolled back to the back of his head. He had no control of his body anymore as his head lifted up, praying for God. What a rookie. When communicating to the dark spirits, you never mention God or be alone when speaking to us, or let the dog spirit count down the numbers. This was just way too easy. I'm finally free out of hell and showing the mortals and soon many others the real Halloween feeling. He only have a smidge part of his soul left, and before I completely kill it, with more tears still leaking down his face, I whispered, I am Satan, and you are mine now. Then I saw his soul slowly rising down and died. Chapter 2, A Maui. It's beginning to look a lot like Halloween here in Acadia, a national park in Maine where everything feels the same and not the way of once I was young. Sorry, I didn't mean to sing like a Disney princess back there. I'm just so excited for Halloween, but at the same time, I'm not. Have you ever get that feeling that when you were little, everything excites you? The pumpkin spices, the costume, ducking your head in candy apples, and watching Charlie Brown the Great Pumpkin. Good times. But who knows that your childhood flies past like that? I'm Amari. I'm 16 years old, but I'm still 6 years old at heart. Autumn is my favorite season, of course. I love the smell of warm cinnamon, the pumpkin carving. Heck, I live in one of the most beautiful places for the fall foliage. So just going outside is such a wonderful gift. I wouldn't miss a chance in the world to grab hot cocoa and dress in costumes. I would. A past tense of the word will. Why so? It's because I feel like ever since I get older, the spirit of Halloween is dying out on me. I barely have friends anymore. I don't get scared that often when the time comes, and the most I could remember from each past Halloween is, of course, trick-or-treating. Go up in my room and eat all the junkies I want. Now, I can't imagine if there's going to be a time when a pandemic virus is roaming around and the government might be thinking of banning trick-or-treating. Where will the time come? But for all serious, Halloween is just not spooky anymore. Not in the actual nightmare way or the funny, entertaining way. Instead, Halloween just passes out just like the gas coming out of my bumhole. Yep, my period blood is more scarier than Halloween as a teenager. Sorry, only girls will understand that. It's not like I'm saying I'm too old for Halloween. It's just, it's not scary or fun anymore. Ignoring all of that, as a child in heart, my most favorite activity that I will never forget is the haunted hayride. Everything is just so unpredictable. Gunshot sounds are bouncing off the areas. There were a lot of frightening ghouls, and I can never forget when a guy with a mask and chainsaw jumped out of the hayride and pointed his weapon at us. That's what made my Halloween. Too bad my family doesn't go anymore. Instead, all I can remember is trick-or-treating and going to a normal cider mill where they just serve donuts and apple cider. With no motion! Whenever I drink apple cider and donuts on a hayride, it makes for the most remarkable treat I ever had. But without motion, I don't want to be too picky in a weird way, but it tastes okay. The worst part of drinking your apple cider without motion are the bees and how they get to try that kind of stuff. But even though it may seem like since I'm a teenager, I lost all my fear of Halloween, and maybe because it does sound like that, but that's not true. Because this Halloween, I just thought of the most unique DIY outfit that will spook the pants off others, including myself. And then try to find out if this year me and my family will go to the haunted hayride again. Once I start getting those goals complete, Sooner or later, I will make this the best Halloween for forever. Wish me luck. I know I really need it. Chapter 3. Satan. After a few hours of rest, I slowly rised, wiping out the pity tears the mortal gave me. Once I stood up, I looked at myself in the mirror. I was in the mortal's body. I had long black hair, beautiful dark eyes, and pale skin so soft and holy. Even though my new mortal body was familiar, I still have problems getting situated. My hair is back, my eyes are a more normal sight, and it was strange having straight teeth and normal feet instead of pointing fangs and hooved feet. I looked outside in my window and I got transported on Earth in a suburb near Acadia's National Park. Everything was decorated for Halloween with skulls and skeletons, monsters and graveyards, fire and screams. When seeing all these decorations, I felt like the mortals were playing a trick on me. Seriously, all these effects and decorations are clearly fake. It's like the mortals were too lazy to afford real stone for the tombstone. While honestly, I am really impressed by the mortals' efforts. If they want to get me with a real Halloween, they should visit hell sometime. And by visit, I mean do an unwanted sin or have an evil spirit like myself drag you there. Yep, I can imagine the mortal I just killed is having the time of his life. A trip to hell, eh? Then I saw next to the place my spirit spawned, there was a flyer with the mortal's face in it that read Acadia's Haunted Hayride. As the title and at the bottom quoted, where the true meaning of Halloween shines. No wonder that stupid mortal thought it was so important to call out the dark spirits to answer to his call and wants. 'Cause I know exactly what this event needs. And let me tell you, it will be the most realistic, brutal, and speechless Halloween event in all of Earthkind. Watch and learn, mortals, 'cause I'm about to turn Acadia's Haunted Hayride to the Devil's Haunted Hayride. Chapter 4. Amari. Even though it was a few days from the start of October, I already started creating my costumes with cloths and anything I could find in the park, especially Halloween items such as hay, tree bark, colorful leaves, and more. I went to my house and hurried to my bedroom since I was so excited to accomplish one of my Halloween goals this year. I done all I can with all the materials I have since I've known to be very resourceful. Once I finished my homemade Halloween costume, I was so proud I could kiss it, although I forgot to put lip gloss on, so that was a big no-no, especially when it comes to first kisses. It's like this is how abnormal I am, picturing a homemade Halloween costume as an actual person. But there's no doubt I was still proud of it. So proud, I slipped the costume and the accessories on and quickly ran downstairs. Again, as a child in heart, I screamed, "Mom! Mom!" At first, I saw my mom looking down and depressed, as if someone recently got killed by an evil spirit. Sorry, too unrealistic. My bad. When Mom turned to me, her frown disappeared into pleasantly surprised. Wee Wee, that's a nickname Mom gave me. Of course, cutting the Alma in Amari and dropping the Wee to make Wee Wee. Sorry again, getting too much in detail again. Anyways, back to Mom, now with a full smile in her face. Wee Wee, isn't it a bit early? Plus, what are you supposed to be? I'm the spirit of the haunted hayride, I exaggerated, twirling my skirt with brittle hay on the outside but silky soft cloth on the inside. An overworld top with a lot of extreme nature designs picked from the park. My brown hair with a blonde ombre are in pigtails. I have a mini straw hat with a red sunflower across it. I have a black button eye patch on my right eye. the most craziest colored stockings you can ever imagine, and cotton boots with a lot of monsters and ghost figures. I also have makeup that will really make me look like one of those undead spirits. But of course, I'm saving it for Halloween or the haunted hayride if I can convince Mom to let me go. So that's when I began to say, you know, Mom, speaking of haunted hayrides, I just remember back when I was young, the family will go to a haunted hayride, drink apple cider and eat donuts, see all those crazy effects and chainsaws. Don't forget the screams. Besides, I did make my own costumes and I am the spirit, so let's say Acadia's haunted hayride. I started to squeal, then Mom stopped me. I know. We haven't done that for years. Also, I read in the news that the new name is the Devil's Haunted Hayride, promising to be more realistic, brutal, and speechless Halloween in all of Earth kind, whatever that's supposed to mean. That claim made my smile more brighter, and I could see my childhood stepping back to me with a more chilling update, so the hayride can grow with us who enjoyed it back then when we were little kids. And so I begged, please, Mom, they probably adapted the ride just for us. Mom gave me a little smirk, knowing how much I prepared that someday we'll be coming back. Okay, Riri, you can go to the Devil's Haunted Hayride. I smiled with glee when I said that, and for the first time, I gave my mom a big hug. Thank you so much for bringing the Halloween spirit back, I said in a dramatic phrase. Of course, but I won't be there. Neither will Dad. We're just... Mom's still back at the news. Pretty busy, that's all. Her frown and depressed face reappeared, but when staring at me, it disappeared again. So I'm going by myself? That's cool too, I reassured. What? Never! You're still not big enough to go to these type of places by yourself. So instead, you'll be going with your only sister, Asthma. My jaw immediately dropped. Why did you think that? This is the first time you heard that I have a sister who is 17 years old. You must have been thinking of yourself like how my mother thinks of us. We're not that far apart from age and we're sisters, so we should be super close to each other. Well, it used to be that way where we used to watch TV shows and movies together, always talking and helping each other out. But ever since I went to middle school, we just separated. I believe it's because Asthma has grown so much and matured at her age, while I still act like a little kid. Or is it because we've grown to have different interests such as the shows we watch or school activities? Mom always begged us to be the bestest friend, but me and Asthma just have a different pace and can be a wet blanket when it comes to fun childhood festivities. It was too late to say no as Mom began to shout out, Asthma! She walked downstairs looking annoyed. Did I forget to tell you that in my eyes, Asthma was more scarier than Halloween and my period blood combined? Mom looked straight at her and then began to look straight at me, saying, Amari got an idea for the two of you to go to the Devil's Haunted Hayride. Would you like to go with her? Asthma swudged and said, sure. She went back upstairs with no emotion at all. See, that wasn't so hard. She wants to go with you, Mom claimed, even though I felt that she just said that because she probably knows whenever Mom wants me and Asthma to do something together, no isn't an answer. But I won't let a civil roadblock ruin my Halloween fight. I still got my super unique costume and a trip to probably the most all-weighted hayride on Earth. Or that's what it sounds like. I can already see Asthma trying to pull off a black hoodie as a Halloween costume, and people looking as if she's my babysitter, despite being almost the same age. But I'm going to try and stay optimistic like always. By the sounds of it, this might be the longest night of my life. I still can't wait for the day. To be continued. What do you think will happen next? Will Amari and Asthma learn to get along like sisters? Will Satan turn all the guests into demons? What was Mom specifically so sad and depressed about? And lastly, is a Maui's period blood really that scary? Again, only girls understand. Find out in The Devil's Haunted Hayride Volume 2. Is the Hayride haunted or devil?